This is the place I usually go. It's a little lake right over there. Hard to see it through the water or through the leaves there, but can't get down around the lake because it's flooded out. I like to go down there and look for currents, but too muddy right now. In fact, if we get a lot of rain, this floods out right here. This goes over to the little lake there. Sometimes the water's up over this. And a few times we've had to walk across them rocks right there, and even that will be in the water. It's kind of nice though. This is paved right here. It just makes a big loop. But on the far side of the loop, there's a trail. Well, there's trail on both sides. If I go straight ahead, when it starts to turn, if I keep going straight, I go into the woods there. There's a trail. And then around on the far bend of the loop, coming back this way, there's another trail. Going back, and that's where that big sycamore is. I take the trail. It kind of goes straight off of this. That's where I saw that. There was a tent back there and a hammock. They looked fairly decent, looked pretty new. They were abandoned. I came back like every week, kept checking on them. Somebody just left it. There was a backpack in the tent, two backpacks. A child one and an adult one. And there's a Buckeye Trail. Comes in right there. So, I don't know. I don't know if that tent's still there or not. I might have to walk back that way and look. This gets so thick, so quick. It's hard to believe it. And we're still in May. And it's already so thick you can't see in there at all. It's only 200 acres here, but with it being that thick, there's no hunting here. People don't come here very often. I'm usually by myself. That's why I can let Wally run. I usually don't see anybody here. I don't know why, because it's a nice little walk around this loop in the woods. I don't have to worry about ticks walking on this path. This is on the opposite side of where I usually go. I usually am up on the ridge overlooking the creek. This is on the lower side of the creek, the bottom of the ridge. I like both sides. They both have their good points and bad points. I think I am going to go back and look, see if that tent's still there. This is what I was talking about. This trail goes off to the right here, kind of straight. Well, this makes a loop. And then if you go down that way to where it starts to turn to the left to make the loop, there's a trail that goes off to the right there that goes back into the woods, and that's where both of those big sycamores are. This trail, I don't think anybody hardly ever walks down this trail, especially the way I'm getting ready to go, because I'm going to take it off to the right, and there's always trees laying across it. And it's pretty thick. It's not real maintained. But it does open up if you follow it back far enough, where those tents were at. And then, like I said, the Buckeye Trail kind of runs alongside of here. So it runs right up next to that Buckeye Trail. But that Buckeye Trail here is I don't even think it's 2 miles. I've never actually walked it. It's an easement through somebody's property, which is why I've never bothered to walk it. But one of these days I might have to check it out. If I take this to the left right here, it goes over and connects to that trail that goes back to the sycamores, which I do that sometimes. But today, there's a tree laying across there. Today we're going to go back here. This is where the tent is. There's usually trees laying across. It looks like they have kind of cleaned it up a little. It's been a while since I've been back here. Like a little tunnel through here. Yeah, they've cut some of those trees out. Usually you got to climb over them. Wally just goes under it. Looks like they've come back here and cleaned it up a little bit. Big old tree drop right there. Oh, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Trees across there. There was an X back here last time I was here. I don't know if it's still here or not. There's always trees across here. There's a bunch of cedars back in here. I'd like to come back here and camp sometime. Probably not allowed to, but that don't matter. There's another one across the path right up there. That X was right in here somewhere. I don't know if it's still here or not. Still thick. All through there you can't see nothing. Can't even see 10 feet. That's why I think this could be a good area. Even though it's only 200 acres. That's enough to have a place to hide out. There's a BFR report. I think it's Christiansburg, Ohio, where a guy said a farmer had 50 acres off of his field that went right up against this guy's house, and he claimed there was a family living in that woods for about 6 months at 50 acres, but then they moved on. So, never know. 200 acres. As thick as that is, seems to me like it could be a good place to hang out for a little while anyway. Maybe not year round, but as they're coming through, just have to be here at the right time, huh? You see there's all these cedars back in here. Kind of nice back in here. I like it. I think I followed that trail before. That's a little deer trail. I know I have at some point. I've been all over this place. 200 acres, and I've been on probably 150 of it anyway. I wish they hadn't sold off a lot of it. They sold it to somebody. They sold the biggest lake that was back here. And whoever they sold it to's got quads, and they go riding back through here all the time like it's all theirs. All right, that tree, or that tent is right here to the right here. One time when we came back here with my grandkids, we smelled a skunk. Pretty strong smell. Right in this spot right here. We all smelled it. Then it went away. There's been a couple times I've been down here and smelled a real strong skunk smell. And then I happened to me one time at Burr Oak at night. I went walking up. Actually, I was going up to where the bathroom was. There's a little trail from where I was camped. It was a walk-in campsite. And I was walking back up to the bathroom about 11 o'clock, and I caught a real strong skunk smell for just a short time. Wasn't a rotten dead animal smell or garbage smell or anything like that. It was just straight out skunk smell. Maybe it was a skunk, I don't know. That's all I've ever smelled is that skunk smell. There's a tree down back here now. So that tent is back in here. Let's see. I think it was over this way a little bit. I think. There's a picnic table right here, which I think they moved back here because this picnic table used to be over in another spot. Yeah, there's some of the remnants of where they camped. I think they moved this table back. Hey, I need to come back here and camp sometime. Really check it out at night. Yeah, right over there. It looks like it's still there. It's pretty dilapidated now. It's been there, well, it's probably been there close to a year now. Right back in here. But it was real nice when I first saw it. In fact, I figured they were staying in it because it looked like somebody was using it. It was a nice hammock hanging there. Tent looked pretty decent. But then I come back a week later and checked on it. Nobody had been around. I checked on it several times and nobody's been back here. So they just left it all. I don't know why. I mean, it was a fairly nice tent and looked like a brand new hammock. Just up and left. I don't know if they got run out or I don't know. Pretty odd. Kind of sad to see how they trash the place. There's one of the backpacks. It's like a Spider-Man or some kind of Marvel character, I think. That's the backpack that was in the tent. No, it's still here. All these little trails right here just got a dead end. I followed them all. I've been all over this place. That's why this is a nice little spot. It'd be a good place to come back here and camp sometime. In fact, I'll show you right where I would camp. There's a, looks like a, it's almost like a fire pit. It's a big square. It's actually pretty big for a fire pit, but I don't know what it was originally, but that's what I would use it for, as a fire pit. Back in here. I wish I would have brought my gimbal. This would be a lot smoother. I brought my little pocket Osmo DJI camera with a gimbal, but for some reason it's not wanting to read the card. Keeps shutting off. So I had to switch to my phone. I gotta get that figured out before I go to Massachusetts. I think I just need to get a better brand new card for it or something. That card is probably a few years old. Although the Pocket Osmo is a few years old, so I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Gotta find my way back to the main trail. Getting turned around. It's been a while since I've been back in here. This is where it dead ends. I gotta get back this way. This is where I've always kind of thought they might be, back in this area, because they have kind of have some shelter or cover in the winter anyway, because it stays green year round. All these evergreens. And chances of finding a print is pretty slim because it's all gravel back in here. So it seemed like be a good spot. There's a rock that kind of broke up. All right, let's see. That spot where I would camp is right over here. Should be a trail that goes off to the left. Maybe it's up here. This is where the picnic table used to be. Yeah, it used to be sitting up here. I think somebody moved it back there when they camped. Yeah, it used to be sitting right up there where the trees are laying. Maybe it's a good thing they moved it. Yeah, it's back in here is where I would camp. Oh wait, no, that's the main trail. It's over here. Getting turned around. This this trail right here. This is when it gets back to that, whatever that big square pit is. This is where I found Batman years ago. Somewhere over in here. Before that tent was there, like a year before that tent was there, I I just found that Batman laying back in here. And I brought it, set it in a tree right here for a while. And nothing ever messed with it. And then I took it over and put it where that structure is, along with some feathers. Nothing messed with that for a long time. It's gone now, but it may have just been somebody who was right along the trail. Somebody just grabbed it. And here's the pit. Kind of looks like somebody may have used it for, I don't know. Anyway, thought it'd make a good little fire pit. I don't know what it was originally. Pretty old. All these trails just dead end right here. I haven't really explored back in that area there much. I guess I need to check that out sometime. I'd like to find a good deer trail to follow. Oh, there's one there. I don't actually want to go where there's a lot of ticks. That ain't much of a deer trail. I guess it is a deer trail there. Let's go back a little ways and check it out, Wally. I don't think I've ever been back in here, really. Somebody has something blue hanging on a tree. A glove. Rubber glove. That's weird. Pretty thick back in here. Pretty sure nobody ever goes back here. Except whoever had that glove. Kind of rugged terrain right here. Go check it out, Wally. See what's over that hill. Yeah, let's keep going. Hope it's not too muddy. Did want to kind of show what it's like over here. Tree knock. I don't know. Just seems like a good area to me. I've never really found anything, but never found a print. I had some weird stuff happen. I'll have to make a video about it sometime. That was a more than 8-minute video. Looking at that, trying to figure out how that got there. Just hanging there. Kind of a tight spot that it's in. I don't see where it came from to end up there. I mean, kind of hard to believe it could fall from up there and through all of that and land right there. I don't know. What do you think, Wally? What do you think, Wally? Yeah, let's keep going, Wally. That looks like a kind of a trail right there. Unless that's where the water runs. Let's see. Whoa. Yeah, it looks like it might be where water runs through. Maybe. Be a good place to find prints if anything came through here. It's pretty soft. This is what I like to do, is get off the trail. That's where you find stuff. Get back in here where nobody's going. Seems like this would be a good area to find a print. Ooh, what we got there? That might be from a deer. I think it is a deer. Yeah, it looks like deer. I've seen some pretty big deer back through here. I think the old Miami-Erie Canal ran somewhere through right in this area. And one time when I was way back in here, I found a bunch of concrete. And I think it might have been the remnants of the old Miami-Erie Canal. It was way back in here. It wasn't a trail. It was, in fact, I had to slide down the hill on my butt to get out of there. So I never went back. But this is pretty hilly back in here in places. I mean, it's not West Virginia hilly. It's Western Ohio hilly. Five minutes on this video already. Starting again. I don't want to make the videos too long, but somebody might be interested in seeing where I'm going off the beaten path. I got an app called Gaia GPS. It looks like that might be a trail right over there. Have to look. Anyway, it runs off satellite, so even if I don't have a signal, I can still use it. So I don't get lost. Otherwise, I'd be a little more leery about just wandering around out here in the woods right before dark. Well, I know I can find my way back. And I'm not complaining, but I have never seen a snake in the woods. I'm sure not complaining about it, but never, I'm always worried about Wally getting into one. Copperhead or even timber rattlers in parts of Ohio. Let's see what we got over here, Wally. Let's see where we're at. Well, it'd be good to come back here and camp sometime. Way back in here. Oh, is that a fire ring? Maybe somebody's already beat me to it. No, it's not a fire ring. It's just a bunch of rocks together. This is back in there though. I don't know if I've ever been back in this area. There's a dam here that was built in 1921 across the Laramie Creek. And about 10 miles upstream is our house, right up against Laramie Creek. Our property runs into it. And then if you go farther up, you come to Laramie Lake State Park. So it's more like a river than a creek. It's fairly bigger than most creeks, I would say, but so when they built that dam in 1921, I'm guessing they they bought all this land, and then they never allowed hunting, and they've never logged it, because that's why there's some big trees here. Not in this spot right here. They might have logged this area right here, but over where that sycamore is, there's a lot of big trees over there. Big trees. Lots of 4-foot diameter trees. And then that sycamore is 7-foot diameter. I measured it with a tape measure. 21 foot around it. Okay, I guess I have to take a look at the app and kind of get an idea where I'm at. Check my bearings. Be right back. So right after I shut it off, I was looking to see where I'm at. We heard something moving back in there. Wally's kind of on high alert, checking it out. I don't know if it was a deer. Something was moving back in there. Right over in that area. What was that, Wally? Huh? Something was moving over there. Probably was a deer. It's getting close to dark. They're probably getting on the move. If Wally takes off howling, then I'll know it was a deer. If he comes running back, then maybe it was something else. He's over there looking right now. Trying to figure out what it was. Something was walking back in there. What was it, Wally? Huh? Did you see anything? He's definitely on high alert. I don't know if he just heard something just now or what. This kind of looks like a trail over here. Not a main trail, but a deer trail maybe. He's still trying to figure out what we heard. Going back in there looking. I said if he takes off howling, I'll know it was a deer. So that's what he does. He goes chasing them. I got my thermal, but it's so thick you're not going to see through that stuff. You see anything, Wally? Huh? We'll follow this deer trail a little bit. See where we come out. Old beer can, but you can see it's really old. Who knows how long it's been back there. Looks like this deer trail goes over this hill right here. There's a lot of deer back in here because they don't allow hunting. I think the deer kind of know that. They know where it's safe. Starting to see some of these cedars. I'm wondering if we're getting back close to that area. My sense of direction is not real good once I get wandering around like this. Looks like this deer trail splits off both ways. I'm curious to see if this comes out over where I was. I think it does. Maybe not. Looked like it opened up right here, but not really. Trees down everywhere. Well, this isn't where I was anyway, that's for sure. Let's see, time is 8:30. I think we got 15 minutes till sundown. Probably be getting dark pretty soon after that. Getting back in here. Guess we should make our way out. I checked on my app. This is definitely a little area I haven't been in before. Just begging to get some ticks. Get into these burrs. That's a good one. I think I saw this tree earlier when I was over here. I think this is where I was just a little while ago. Yeah, I remember that tree bent over. I think this is where we were at when we heard something back in there. All right, Wally, which way we want to go? He's loving this. He's been stuck at the house since it's been raining the last several days, so he's just loving this. Which way, Wally? You want to go this way? Let's go through. At least I'm not seeing any poison ivy back in here for him to get into. Yeah, I think that's the way we came. Right over here. You hear something, Wally? I thought I heard something. Back in there. I thought I heard something. Yeah, I've come out here in the winter after a good snow looking for prints. Never found any prints. Been out here many times right after a good rain. Never found any prints. Although I I don't get off the trail as often as I should. But last week we walked back off a deer trail and found that tree structure, so that's kind of sparked my interest in getting out here a little deeper. Well, you made it look easy going up that hill, Wally. You little mountain goat. I heard movement over there. I've learned since I was down there in Alabama at like 2 in the morning, Conecuh National Forest. That's where I saw them, those eyes looking at me. I never heard, well, there's a couple times I heard some movement, but that was it. I didn't hear much of anything. And when I caught the eyes, it just sounded like a single step. I heard one little movement, and I looked over, and there they were looking at me. But before that happened, I'll have to post that video on my YouTube. Before that happened, I saw eyes looking over some tall grass. And I saw them blink. They were looking right at me. So I hurried up and grabbed my thermal out. I didn't have my camera out, naturally. Oh, wait. Maybe I did. I can't remember. But I don't think I caught the eyes. But anyway, I saw them looking at me. They blinked. And I grabbed my thermal out real quick. Looked over there. I didn't see anything at all. Although I know there was something there because I saw them blink. So I figured it must have been a deer because they were just looking over top of some grass that was about 3 foot high. So I didn't think much about it. Then I went a little farther and I heard something on the other side, and I looked, saw eyes again. I got my thermal out and looked, and yeah, it was a deer. So I didn't think much about the first time, even though the first one really didn't look like a deer. So anyway, then I saw them ones looking over top of them bushes looking at me. And then I saw them again when I got to the end of the bushes, but somehow I convinced myself that it was just the moon coming through the trees, but no, it wasn't. You could tell its eyes in the video. Kind of shocks me when I watch the video now because it looks a lot different. When I see it in the video, it's pretty obvious what it is, but I guess you're in the moment trying to convince yourself that's not what it is. Even though that's what I've been waiting to find all these times I go out. Oh, big old rock here. Yeah, it's starting to get dark. I think I'm going in the right direction, but I got no idea. I'll check my app here pretty soon. I got my headlamp just in case. I think this is the way we came. Pretty sure it is. Now it's hot. All this bark is stripped. Too high for a deer. And it stops right there. That seems a little odd. It's a honeysuckle. Keep an eye out for prints right here. Morning, Dove. Don't you know it's the evening? What are you doing, Wally? You waiting on me? I know, I take a lot longer than you. All right, Wally, which way are we going? I'm gonna have to look at my app again. Uh-oh. Wally went up that hill. It's pretty steep. I think I know where we are now. I think we're over by where the Buckeye Trail's at. I remember coming in this way one time. There's a trail up there, top of that hill, if I'm not mistaken. If I can get up the hill, it's pretty steep. Show off. He just runs right up it. I don't want to pull a Mike Hartman. Ooh. Almost there. Whoa. Just about it. I think I got it. Oh no. That's the other trail. Black mushroom. Well, that's not good. Oh, this is not good. All right, gotta find the way out. Anybody can just take the trail. That's the easy way. Oh, Wally. All right, I better consult my app again. All right, I think I need to keep going even though it don't look like it's the easiest route. Down and back up again. It's slick, this log. I gotta get it. Now we're getting somewhere. I think there's a open field right here, and that's where that Buckeye Trail starts, I believe. So I think I know where I'm at. Not the easiest way to get there, but there's a hole there. Not sure what dug that. Oh boy. There we go. Yeah, I remember seeing a big old buck out here one time in this field. I'm sure I've scared him off by now if he's anywhere around. Noisy as I've been. I think we'll try coming out over here. Yeah, nice, good place for Wally to get some ticks and give them to me. Oh, he found a way out right here. I think. Yeah, good job, Wally. Yeah. Whew. Yeah. Made it out. Yeah, I don't know exactly where I'm at. Let's look at the app again. I think this might be a farmer's field. As a field I'm thinking of, there's some bird blinds right back in here. There's a nice little overlook on this trail. Maybe this is it. Maybe it just looks different. There's a trail that goes back. I don't know if this is it or not. And then there's a big deck you can step out on. Yeah, maybe, yeah, this is it. Let's go to the overlook. Can't really see nothing because it's so thick. Been a while since I've been back in this area. There's a trail right here to the left. It goes back to where the parking lot is. Back that way. Nice little tunnel. I'm gonna go walk over to the overlook. Here's this big boulder here out of nowhere. Nice little deer trail there. You afraid to go up there, Wally? Yeah, I went down that way one time. It's pretty rugged. Got into a bunch of briars and thick. Here's the overlook. Can't see a whole lot. There's a ravine right down there. That's where I went. That's where I just come from. I came up that ravine right there. Then you see the cedars right there going that way. That's where that one area is at. Over to the left a little bit. And then that pond is over that way. And then the main trail where that loop is over that way also. And back in there is where nobody goes, where I just come from. It's a nice little park here. Nobody ever comes. Pretty sure there's bird blinds. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they're where this trail comes out. I know there's some bird blinds. This is a pretty nice path right here. Something's been walking that pretty regular. I'm pretty sure this is the one I went down that one time. Yeah, I remember it got pretty rugged real quick. Something's been walking through here though. Oh, Wally. All right, we'll take the tunnel here. There's a blue heron. I always think they look like pterodactyls. And it's getting dark. Always darker than what it looks like on this camera. The camera's pretty good. Yeah, I think you can see the pond through there. Maybe. If you can see it, there's the pond's right over there. Kind of can see it through there. I used to see some bald eagles down here all the time. They were juveniles. They were brown. I didn't realize it takes them like 5 years to get the colors. And there was 3 of them that always hung out together down there by that lake, that little pond. I've got some pictures of them, but I haven't seen them this year at all. I don't think I saw them last year either. I think it was the year before. So I don't know where their nest is. I've kept an eye out for it, but I haven't found it yet. Probably 3 nests now. That was a couple of years ago, so you might even have their colors now. And I did see one fly over. I think that was last summer. One flew over. I was on the other side, on the ridge side. Hey, look. There's the other blue glove. Now, that's really odd. Find one here, and considering where that other one was at, it's really odd. Yeah, it's getting dark back in there. It's a nice little trail. I don't know if this is part of the Buckeye Trail or not. Like I said, I never really bothered to walk it because it goes right through private property on the trail easement. I don't think it's wooded. I think it goes right along the farm field, so really had no interest in walking it. All right, let's see if those bird blinds are up here, or they might have took them out. I don't know. They did a lot of work down here. They had this closed off for like a year. You couldn't park back in there. You could hike, park out by the road, but you couldn't pull back in here. They had a gate across and a dumpster and construction. All right, is this where the bird blinds are? Or did they take them out? I don't think anybody ever used them. No, they're still there. Here's the bird blinds. Now that Buckeye Bigfoot, she tells a story about this place right here, where she said it was a lady who lived down the road, just right up the road from here. And her son was 15, came down here with a friend to go fishing, and called her up in a panic because he said a pack of coyotes came after him. And they ran to the bird blind. And they were in the bird blind, and the coyotes were trying to get in. And they had a piece of plywood they were holding over the opening. And she said she grabbed her pistol and jumped in her truck, drove down, jumped out, ran to the bird blind. She saw the coyotes all around it. She was running toward it, and she said she claims a female Bigfoot came out of the woods, grabbed one of the coyotes by the head and shook it and broke its neck, tossed it off to the side, grabbed another coyote and threw it into a tree, and then the rest of them scattered. And then said she turned around and walked back into the woods. Now, obviously, it wasn't this bird blind, because you're not going to cover an opening with a piece of plywood here. Plus, they could go right underneath. It's almost like a foot above the ground right there. But I saw these and I thought, okay, I don't know about that whole story. But if you go down there where that loop's at, I couldn't show you because you can only see it in the winter. It's all grown over. There's an old sign there right off of the trail, but it's covered by all the grass and weeds and everything now. But it says bird blind, and it's pointing down that way. So I think she said this was like 2016. So that was what, 11 years ago, 10 years ago, 9 years ago. 9 years ago, and so that bird blind could be gone. Because when I saw these, they looked fairly new. That was a couple of years ago. They looked pretty new. So there might have been a bird blind down the other area where they were talking, because they were supposed to be going fishing, and there's no water anywhere around right here. But there is that lake, little pond down there where that sign is that says bird blind. So it's possible that may be a true story. I don't know. I don't really care for Buckeye Bigfoot or any of those shows where they just read an email. I'd rather hear the person tell it themselves. I don't want to hear somebody else reading about it. And I could just go on the BFRO and read it myself. Plus, I can't help but wonder if people just like to try to get creative with their writing, make up a story and see if she'll read it. So I don't really listen to those shows. I like Sasquatch Chronicles, where you hear it right from the person it happened to. You get a lot better read as whether it's true or not. More gloves. Huh. Who's been back here with these gloves? That's really odd. Yeah, it was right over there where I saw that buck take off into the woods at one time. Pretty big one. Yep, I'm almost back to the car now. Just wanted to show you the area. I know the Buckeye Trail is somewhere right over in here. That might be it, that where we just walked out of. That might be the start of it. I don't know. All the times I've been here, I've only seen somebody at that shelter one time. This parking lot is pretty much always empty. And then the ones that are here, you'd be surprised how many park on this side or on the other side and just walk across the dam. They just walk down this road. This road goes over the dam, and it's blocked off on both sides with a gate up there where that sign's at. The dam is right. I'll be able to see it when I get around this curve. Yeah, they redid a lot of this over in here. Did some work on the dam. I'm not sure what they were doing. They had this all torn up, but I say they fixed it back up pretty good. You can't really even tell now. I never ever looked at this sign. I think it talks about some of the renovations they did. Go over here and look at it. Yeah, a lot of people park and just walk down that road to the other side, and then they walk back. See what this sign says. Here's the dam over there. This says no trespassing with motor vehicles. And yet, those people that have the quads ride back in here all the time because their property butts up to it on the other side. It's kind of aggravating. Yeah, it's talking about when the dam was built. (1919). Dam is 70 feet high. So like I said, even though it's a creek, it's more like a river. It's pretty big for a creek. Corps of Engineers built this dam. There's a flood in Dayton, 1913. Yeah, there it talks about it. That's when they started building these dams. To tell you the truth, I think they built the dams so that if we did get a monsoon rain, well, there's the creek. Anyway, I really think they built the dams so that they have control and they can flood the poor folks area, not some of the more expensive areas. I've seen it happen where they just open them up in some areas so that it doesn't flood out the expensive areas. Well, gonna head home.